Madam, it is good that the government has realized sooner than later that MSMEs form the backbone of the Indian economy in terms of employment generation and economic growth. This is a welcome step as business of an MSME attracts interest primarily from its promoter. There may not be other resolution applicants in a number of resolution cases of MSMEs, and excluding the promoter would have only led to more liquidation of MSMEs. However, it would be better if the government provides a debt threshold so that companies with high debt but low turnover do not misuse the carve outs. My third point is that the bill seeks to amend Section 21 by allowing class of creditors exceeding specified number to be represented by an authorized insolvency professional. New Section 25A has been inserted to provide for the rights of such authorized representatives. This will also enable the home buyers to have an insolvency professional as their representative in the proceedings. This is a welcome amendment as it will ensure that serious deliberations take place in committee meetings with adequate representations of all the affected parties, but without the attendant harshness if thousands of people gather to attend the meeting of committee of creditors. The bill amends Section 10 of the Code by providing for special resolution for initiating corporate insolvency resolution process by corporate debtor itself. Since commencement of corporate insolvency resolution process is a major decision for the corporate debtor and may have a huge impact on its functioning or even may lead to its liquidation, a special resolution passed by the shareholders of the corporate debtor is necessary. The bill has closed the loophole which was being exploited by unscrupulous guarantors by amending subsection 3 of section 14 by stating that moratorium would not apply to guarantors of the corporate debtor. There were conflicting views of the Allahabad High Court and NCLT Mumbai over this matter. This amendment settles the debate on this issue. The bill seeks to amend Section 31 of the Code by providing that the resolution professional shall obtain necessary approvals required under any law for the time being in force within 1 year from the date of approval by NCLT or within such period as provided for under the law, whichever is later. This amendment basically gives effect to the suggestion of the ILC on this issue. The provision does not make it clear whether obtaining such statutory approvals within the specified time frame is a condition precedent for maintainability of the resolution plan or a consequential mandatory obligation on the part of the successful resolution applicant. What would happen if the resolution applicant fails to get regulatory approvals within the specified time frame? I would like to know whether the Honorable Minister would clarify this issue. The bill inserts clause E to section 17 of the code to provide that the interim resolution professional shall be responsible for complying with the requirements under any law for the time being in force on behalf of the corporate debtor. The amendment incorporates the recommendation made by the committee by making the resolution professional responsible for the statutory compliances while managing the affairs of the corporate debtor. However, it must also be provided in the code that the said professional shall not be held liable for any acts done without his knowledge or connivance and for acts which do not arise out of his conduct. Section 30 of the code has been amended to waive off the requirement of shareholders' approval required under the Companies Act 2013 or any other law for the time being in force for implementation of actions under the resolution plan. This amendment legislates the Ministry's clarifactory circular on this issue. I would urge upon the Honorable Minister to reconsider this proposal as it might have adverse impact on the rights of minority shareholders. Section 231 of the code has been amended to provide for bar of jurisdiction of civil courts or authorities in matters under jurisdiction of the adjudicating authority and the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. It is a regulatory body having regulatory oversight over the insolvency professionals, insolvency professional agencies, insolvency professional entities, and information utilities. It is not a judicial body. It is very strange that the government proposes to put the matters under this body beyond the jurisdiction of courts.